Farmers Insurance presents Americans in Focus, celebrating diversity.
The Chinese were first hired by the Central Pacific Railroad, which was part of the nation's first Transcontinental Railroad in the 1860s. Some Chinese had come here during the gold rush, and so the railroad decided to try some of them out and found that they were very good workers, and eventually the railroad imported 12,000 Chinese to work on the railroad. The Chinese were a bit of a threat to Western or Anglo workers on the railroad, and part of it was because they were so disciplined in what they did. When the railroad first began construction, it was typical to build a mile a day. The Chinese had been so well organized, they set a record of laying 10 miles of track in a single day. That's a record that still stands. No one has even come close to it. This was a time when workers in general were not treated very well, and the Chinese were a special target. They were paid $26 a month with no board. The white workers were paid $30 a month with board. The last spike photo really belies the significant role of the Chinese in building the railroad. They're almost nowhere to be seen in the pictures from Promontory that day in 1869. It's important to remember the Chinese because they are part of this great cultural mosaic of America that allowed America to become the industrial power that it did. For Chinese workers who built the U.S. railroads, I'm Peter Hansen for Americans in Focus, celebrating diversity.